For this session, we'd like to invite on stage Mr. Dillip Kumar Majhi, SVP, Head of Data Analytics Cloud Platform, HDFC Bank, Mr. Gaurav Bansal, Head Analytics, L&T Financial Services, and Hetal Patel, Partner, PwC, to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, would you be kind enough to please put your hands together for them?
Hi, everyone. Ours is the last session, so I believe the enthu in the room still should be high enough. Would want to kind of make this session a little bit more engaging. And of course, if there are any questions, would like to also invite from the audience as well. So yeah, hi, my name is Hetal. I'm a partner with PwC. I do FS Data and Analytics, all thorough, only doing data and analytics in FS itself. Largely been associated with doing large implementations at banks, insurance, asset management companies. In fact, I'm doing a project with VAMSI as well. So yeah, I mean, so today's session I think is more to do with turning data into intelligence. It's a very high word, but in that way, we have been seeing that since done through ages. I think the questions that I would want to ask is to more around the futuristic way of how to use data for intelligence. And with that, I want to start with the first question around, so we have seen that a new age data platforms all being migrated from on-prem to cloud. And typically, each organization, at least in FS, would be in some part of that journey. I mean, either they would have kind of moved some typical use cases on cloud, or they might have kind of dealt with moving large enterprise-level data warehouses onto cloud. I wanted to kind of ask both of you one by one to share your experiences as to how had that journey been along. What are the challenges, what are the benefits that the organization is really having, if there are benefits as such. And if you want to kind of also associate it with some finite KPIs, I think it will be helpful to hear your thoughts. Yeah. First, yeah.
Hello. Yeah. I think it is the last session and people might be get too much work, right? And they might be loaded with many things, correct? Anyway, let me start with the, the history of the data warehouse, then big data, then, data lake, right? So sometimes, 1870 something, right? There are people, Bill Inman and, Kimberly, they thought of that, okay, the core system, so we cannot build anything on the, analytics, right? And they realized that, okay, we need to take up all these data points from the core system and do the data warehouse, right? So sometimes in 1980 and 2000, right, data warehouse become the very popular, right? And from there, then 2004 or 5, right, big data, starts coming. That is the generation 2, where people start thinking that a lot of data points which we are not able to do in the data warehouse or EDW, we should build in the, big data kind of stuffs, right? Then today, people are talking the clouds, right? A lot of cloud program has come up, be it, hybrid cloud or be it the public cloud, right? So in our bank, if you look at, we are going ahead 3, kind of the cloud platform system. One is the Azure, then GCP and the AWS. But in our cases, we have taken up the Azure as one of the strategic move in the HDFC Bank. So post we merger with the HDFC Limited, we saw the volume of data is very, very high, right? And we cannot able to manage and sustain the, the kind of the, data point we are having in the EDW to be it a regulatory, be it a cross-sell, be it upsell, or be it the, end consumption pattern, right? So we realize we will move to the, into the Azure, right? But the key challenge is you have some terabyte of data sitting in the Netija NPS, and you need to take it up over there. So there is always a challenge that how to take up so much set of data into the cloud, right? So you will build your ingestion framework, you will build so many techniques, or you will take the load, like, Snowball in the AWS, then in Azure there is, Databricks and all, which, you can take the data, load it there. Now the challenge, even that got completed while taking those data points from here to on the cloud. But most of the challenges lies with the cloud HSM, security, PI, SPDI, how you ensure the billing is absolutely being subdivided, because you carry the petabyte of data over there, right? And you are not going to bear all the cost over there, right? So that means it has to be submental with risks, marketing, BIU, then the end users, the operational back office, right? And all this billing has to be there, right? So there is a concept of subnetting and all, right, which we did as part of the data lake program in the Azure, right? That's one aspect. Now, so we saw many challenges when we are trying to implement each and everything, because the bank was having close to 300 plus kind of source system. and it is having not only the structured data, lot of third-party aggregated data, then a lot of behavioral data, all the data point we need to carry in different format, right? Now coming into the the benefit which we realize that the timeless, right? How quickly you can get the data and put it there, right? Similarly, reg requirement, right? In the reg requirement, we are saying it was almost 18 to 20 hours, or someday, if you look at 5 years before, it was a regulatory close to 4 to 5 days, they need the data point, right? Now, last 1 year, they are asking T-minus 1, right? In the end of the day, you have to give each and everything. Maybe, another, year's time, they will ask half day or real time, right? So that means you should ensure that timeless, how quickly data being generated in the code system, and it get into the, your data lake, and you generate the, kind of, insight, right? That's one. Then high availability, right? Most of the time, since your data is extremely complex, right? How you ensure that, your data is being, always available for the right purpose, right? So that means time has come to create your own bed. So essentially, you prepare your dog's bread and eat it. So you create, something kind of your own platforms where, you capture those, kind of your entire data point, prepare it and hand over it as and when required, right? People cannot just wait, okay, data will come somewhere else, then it will get ready and all, right? So that's the benefit we started seeing when we kept moving to the, cloud areas and all. Yeah, that's what probably I can tell.
Gaurav, would you want to share your thoughts?
So I'll just, I think you have covered it all, but I'll just put my experiences that we have seen. So we have moved from SQL Server to Google BigQuery, and what I have observed is the performance is just amazing. It gives you a whole scalability opportunities. The infrastructure scales on its own, as well as the maintenance headache that goes away. There's a huge headache that you have to maintain the DRs, you have to maintain the live DRs, hot and hot cold DR infrastructure, that all goes away. One of the downside that we have seen is anybody new in the system, is anybody intern in the system using it and launches a query that takes a whole lot of bandwidth of the system, processing power. The system provides you a functionality that it will answer all the queries within 3 seconds. And for that, whatever the infrastructure, CPU and memory it is required, it suddenly scales up, and then that takes whole of your cost. So those kind of assessments, those kind of functionalities you have to understand, and these nuances of the cloud migration you understand when you burn your hands, or when the time goes and you gain more and more expertise with it. But overall, a very good journey, a seamless journey. Challenges are definitely there to move a native infrastructure on a cloud-based platform. A lot of governance things that you have to take care of. But I hope we will see the performance benefits coming out of it very soon.
Right. Thanks a lot. With this, I'll move to the second question, specifically for Dillip, you, because in a large bank, we are often hearing that actually we know that the data model is the heart of any good data platform that you want to build up, right? I mean, you can only create as much intelligence, as much of data which is there in the heart of that in the data model, which is rightly placed in the right structures, and it is designed in such a way that is scalable enough, right? So I think with the old age data platforms which had data models in the forms of facts, dimensions, warehouses, and then marts on top of it, and reporting tables and all that, I think the new age also talks about things like data fabric, data mesh. And then I think I would like to your opinion about, I mean, what do you think about these? Are these like just buzzwords, or do you see have really some value implementing these kind of architectures? Yeah,
very good questions. In fact, in the EDW, the design principle is you capture the data. So you do the ingestions, you apply the various quality checks and all, right? And I'm sorry. You apply the a lot of ingestion and quality checks, right? So we call it as a ABC framework, right? The audit, balancing, and the checksum kind of a framework you apply over there, and finally you create the marts, right? That is the concept of in the EDW, right? Then when we went to the data lake, right, we realized people started capturing whole set of data, loading into the data lake, and start using those data here and there, right? It is not making sense, right? So in 19, close to 40, in 19, 78 or 80 time, people started thinking something when we'll move to the data lake, right? We should have, there is a mesh concept, right? So they introduced data domain concept, right? And a self-service. So you capture all set of data, you create a common data model. Let in our banks, what we are trying to do it, right? You got all set of data, be it core banking system, be it LMS, be it, card systems, be it UPI, all kind of data you got it, right? Now you created the common models, right? In common model, you ensure the, your fact dimensions are being captured as part of the data domains. And when you create the various data domains, so they are the business people, they are only accessible to the domain. So the people who are doing a lot of the analytics on the, cards side, be it debit, be it credit, be it Flipkart card, anything, they will only hit those access and all, right? And what helps them, it gives the better understanding of the, how the card works, how much payment I have to do the, Google as a merchandise, how much I have to pay to the, to Paytm and all, right? So those are the domain driven. So that means you are not accessing entire setup, petabyte of data and wasting all your, on tapping of the, cloud data. So rather you create a mesh and each mesh will, give the functionality of that, and it is concentratedly sitting in the middle of that, and across that, all different models are being created. So let, one of the mesh, you need 10, 15, data points from the different common model. You just get it and, put it there and create that, mesh architecture. So that's what it is very, very popular and very, very monetized purpose. It is very powerful things. So that's what, mesh plays the role. And coming into the data governance, the federation aspect and all, right? Lot of point what happens, there are a lot of virtualization and federation tools has come up, like the Node and IBM and all. You need to carry all set of data point, right? Wherever the data, let it be there in the origin, you just connect it, it creates AI-driven kind of, explain plan, get the data, do your job and hand over it, right? So that enables the faster monetization of the data. That's what we do as part of the mesh architecture. It's pretty much the latest, in the data lake side.
Right, right. So I believe you also believe that data mesh and data fabric will add on to the whole governance and security aspect of data. Yes. Also allows democratization of the data, basically, correct, to like enable self-service and other functionalities. Yeah, thank you, very apt answer. I think, Gaurav, one question for you. So basically, I think turning data into intelligence, the recent trend of the day is also to augment your data with a lot of alternative data sources. And especially, I think we have historically seen that the CRISIL, CIBIL, and the credit scores were obviously a choice for assessing the risk of a person in underwriting in your domain. But I think with respect to growth perspective, what are the different alternative data sources that you are seeing which can embed intelligence into your data sets, augment with your data sets, and further create insights for, say, better growth of sales? For a perspective, if you can just share some stories around from your organization.
So I'm head of analytics at L&T Finance, and we are one of the NBFCs, the leading NBFCs in the country. And the so-called, or I think I would say in last 5, 7, 6 years, we were continuously using the bureau data, bureau scores, bureau variables, and all of that. But now, last 1 or 2 years, with the advancement in the technology, with the data aggregation happening all around, a lot of alternate data is available, and this data is being utilized now for various purposes of the customer acquisition, engagement, collections, or even cross-sell and top-up as well. For example, if I break this data which is available in the market for from these alternate channels, it will be like 3 kinds. First is at individual level, where for a single person you will find out what kind of behaviors they have on a social media, what kind of digital savviness they have, what kind of digital apps do they use, what is their travel history, what kind of expenses do they make on certain platforms, what are their hobbies, for example. So all that data is available with the alternate data sources. So this is with the individual person. Now a little bit more granular of it is something which is available with a device, okay, which is tracked through something called as AMA-ID. You can, in a layman terms, you can consider as a device ID of your mobile phone. And these device IDs help you to track the location of the person, which can be a good use case of a collections. let's say you have a defaulter and you want to track this location of the customer, you can trace it with the help of MAIDs that is available with the data providers. So that is the second form which is available with the device. The first one was with the individual itself, the second is with the device level binding, and the third one is the aggregated level of the data. For example, you want to open a branch in some particular area. You want to understand the behavior, the economics, the socio-economic domain of that area. So that that data is also available. What bureau provides, which are the structured and the traditional data sources, they provide you the data at the pin code level. But this alternate data augmentation, these activities have gone much deeper. They have divided the whole country into a grid of 150 meter or 100 meter by 100 meter. And with that level of granularity, the data is available. You can see that within this grid of 100 meter by 100 meter, there are 5 stores which are available. One is electronic shop, another is a normal kirana shop. What kind of POS transactions that are happening, what is the volume of those shops, or if this is a residential area, what kind of affluency of the residents that the customers have, are the high affluence or the low affluence, what kind of footfall that is happening in the shops which are available in these areas. And these kind of intelligence which was not available 2 years back, this is helping the business immensely to decide how to grow, where to grow, in which markets I have to open and penetrate more. So the alternate data usage is definitely coming more and more. There are all type of data available which helps you in underwriting. It might help you in identifying the identity of the customer. It might help you in understanding the digital behavior of the customer. It might help you to understand the location, the traceability, and the metrics are associated around with the transactions and the payments happening all around. So those kind of alternate data that is used and that is available, and we have seen some good advantage coming out of it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You want to add?
Yeah. So we have implemented similar like this. There is a company, Lementra in the US. What that company does, close to 4 to 5 years before, right? So they are trying to find the different soils in the US, right? And they were recommending to their farmers, right? What is the best crops they can able to do it, and what is the kind of crops they should do in what seasons and all, right? So that the productivity will be very high. And that company itself has opened its office in Pune, I think 2 years before. And we are trying to capture the each land's, the altitude, their maps, the land details, so that, banks capture it and banks do the lot of analysis over that, altitude, the maps, the, soils, each and every part, be it, Himalaya part, be it in Orissa, be it, western side or eastern side, and it will recommend to the farmers, right, what kind of a crops you supposed to do as per your soils, right? Wow. And as per the position of the rains, as per the position of the population, and what kind. So because of that, what happens, it is very, very useful. So essentially behind the scene, very good models is being built, right, which will take up all this alternate, set of data, the geographical data and all, right? And it will recommend to the farmers, right? These are 10 things you're supposed to do it, and your product will go like this, right? So these are, kind of work, so we are also, doing it.
It also builds trust in that way.
Yes.
I mean, if you recommend to the farmers that these are the things that you should do, and if they do that and if they get good returns, obviously it also builds trust.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And since India is, culture of the agriculture land,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
of
that's
course.
why, we a
No, very
bank
good
is seeing a lot
example.
of, excitement over there.
Yeah, very true, very true. I think in the paucity of time, we'll only move to the last question. And this, Gaurav, this is especially related to, I know you're doing a lot of advanced stuff in analytics. So AI ML in the journeys, enabling AI ML functions in the journeys itself. How have you seen its adoption? Is it like, I mean, if you can give some examples around in your organization, how you're trying to embed that and what are the returns that you're getting from there? It will be very helpful to see data really turning into intelligence, as we call it.
Okay. So I think I'll travel back a little bit in the history of the organization. Around 3 years back or 4 years back, when we were doing a lot of two-wheeler loans, we had a huge set of credit underwriters. So when a loan application is filled, the credit underwriter evaluates that application and decide whether we have to give a loan to this customer or not. So we started the journey towards building those models, and 3 years back a decision was taken that we will remove the roles of the credit underwriters and we will start using the application scorecards which are based on AI/ML techniques. and see how the performance goes. Definitely, there were some hiccups earlier, but after a month, the whole set of underwriters that were centralized and decentralized doing underwriting processes that was taken away, and that job was done very well with the application scorecard. Now we are at the third generation of the application scorecard. So this is the same, this is one way of using the AIML. Now we have got more advanced into it. Earlier it was a single scorecard or a single model that was giving you a result. Now we are moving into a domain or an area of ensembling these models together called as ensemble models. So one model develops which is based on, let's say, behavior of the patterns or the payment patterns of the customer, which is very structured, which is available to you. That takes care of, that piece is taken care by one model. Another model takes feed from a lot of alternate sources that I just spoke about. That model is giving you another feed, and now you have another third layer of the model which is talking about, let's say, the digital activities of the customer. So when you bunch all these three models together, or you can even create a cohort of these models and then apply some segmentation on top of it. So when these 2-3 models combine together, you take a very decisive call that what kind of offering do I need to make to this customer, what kind of interest rate should I offer, what kind of offer amount should I give, and how should I pitch this customer differently. So that is how these models are embedded into various customer journeys. So I've just given an example of underwriting, but the same way it happens for customer engagement, the same way it happens for marketing, as well as the cross-sell opportunities of the customers.
Yeah, and I also I was just, we were discussing a use case about where you mentioned how AIML is delivered to the last milestone. If you want to just kind of know, just for a few minutes, if you want to talk about that. It's a very interesting one. I was frankly impressed with it.
Okay. So L&T Finance is one of the NBFCs. We are, I think, number 3 or number 4 into microloans in India. Microloans means there's a joint liability group जहाँ पे एकदम गांव की महिला होती है, उसका एक समूह बनाया जाता है और उन समूह को लोन दिया जाता है, and then a person goes and collects the money from that loan, from that group. Okay. So what happens is, and these feet on street is very high, and you can imagine that we have around 24,000 feet on street which are doing these kind of collection activities, and they go to very, very rural part of the country where banking services are not available. So what happens, we observed that the person who has to go and collect the money, he has to go and travel 4 or 5 villages in a particular day and collect the money from different ladies. So what we did is, we created a optimized route plan for this person, and this route plan was sent to his mobile application every morning. So once he logs in the application, the collector sees that I have to go to these 15 ladies today. This is the route plan. They are in these 4 villages. In the 4 villages, these are their houses. This is the time that I will take to go to one meeting center where I will be able to collect from these 4 ladies. Then I will travel 5 kilometers more. I will reach to this particular village. I will go to this meeting center, will collect money from these 4 ladies, and then I will go here and there. So, and an optimized route plan helped us to understand that if the person follows these, we will definitely be able to improve the productivity of the FLO, which is on the ground running on a 2-wheeler, and whether it's a day or whether it's a hot day, summer, cold or winter, he has a productivity or he has a high inclination towards the route plan to be followed, and then we see an enhancement in the productivity. Another example, this was a collection example. Another example was on towards the sourcing side. We created the propensity model that the lady has taken one cycle of loan with you. Now you can sell another cycle of loan to the lady. So we created the propensity of the customers. The propensity data is available. The P1, P2, P3 priority is available to this FLO. So if he has to do sourcing, then he knows that out of these 10 ladies, these 7 or 4 are my top priority customers, that they have a higher chances to take a loan, and I will definitely go and pitch them first. So these are some use cases where the AIML has been embedded into the feet on ground, and they are using it for their own benefits, and definitely the organization gets its own benefits.
We have also a similar thing. So we have something like this. We are using DLP, digital lending platform. So what happens, somebody, most of the people, they don't go to the, office, right? The branches and all, where, they will apply some kind of loans, right? So they normally, being provided different portals and all, what kind of cars they want to buy, right? What kind of loans they want to do it. Let us somebody is trying to get the car, right? Red color, this is cost, right? All those, he'll do the lending, entire things. So the lending platform will capture all the details and all. And whenever, he want to do something, so internally what happens, the system connects it to a lot of civil systems. It's a transactions, it credits, and the underwriting, the risks associated. So close to 15 to 20 models behind the scene it runs, and it checks less than maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It will check whether this guy is eligible to get the loans or not, right? And if yes, immediately it generates a different score. It is kind of app score, it is kind of a risk score, and based on that, if that he increases to above that risk score, he will allow that the kind of the loans. So that's the kind of the AI models we also use as part of that, right?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think we're running out of time. I think we heard both the panelists, very good discussion. Apparently, I think a lot of alternative data is playing a role to embed intelligence and merge it with our internal data sets to really create good analytical models. And of course, AI/ML model, putting them in the customer journeys itself to nudge either your RMs or nudge your customers, give the best out of that. I think it's the flavor of the day. I think with this, any questions from the audience would want to kind of ask that? I think we are good. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks a lot.
I have one small announcement. One of books I have written on the cloud and the data platforms and AI, it is going to publish, next to next week. It's almost books containing, last 100 years of the journey of the different data platforms, then the growth pattern, then how people are using in different situations, what are the most of the major use cases, banks does the last 100 years. So that book is publishing, another 2 weeks. Yeah? If people are more interested to know the journey, what are the technology, what are the principles, what are the architecture, what are the cloud aspect, why we need to use what kind of cloud platform, how we manage our things. Most of things are being covered, and hopefully you guys get a lot of understanding how the the entire data clouds and platforms in the banking world is running. Yeah?
Absolutely. We
You
want to
can
meet
have
you
it.
after 2 weeks to get a signed copy of the book.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, book launch. Yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks a lot for being such a nice audience and not being so. I mean, because this is the last session of the day. Thanks for keeping the patience. Thank you.